Hey CWOL kids, we're so glad you joined us today. I'm so excited to see every single one on your face. I see it in the lens right now.
So we have an awesome message for you today, so just tune in, get ready. It's gonna be great, it's gonna be awesome.
Like a ring of solid gold, like a vow that is tested, like a covenant of old. And your love is enduring through the winter rain and beyond the horizon, with mercy for today. Faithful you have been, and faithful you will be. You pledge yourself to me, and it's why I sing. Your praise will ever be on my lips, ever be on my lips. Your praise will ever be on my lips, ever be on my lips. Your praise will ever be on my lips, ever be on my lips. Your praise will ever be on my lips, ever be on my lips. Your love is devoted, like a ring of solid gold, like a vow that is tested, like a covenant of old. Your love is enduring through the winter rain and beyond the horizon, with mercy for today. Faithful you have been, yeah, and faithful you will be. You pledge yourself to me, and it's why I sing. Your praise will ever be
Happy birthday, all you June people. Happy birthday. You know, I was thinking, like, with patience, don't you like have to have patience when it comes to your birthday? Because you like start counting down the days. You're like, how many more to my birthday? How many more to my birthday? I mean, patience comes around all the time. You need patience, especially for like all those really good things you want to happen. Patience. But in case you didn't know, we're having Smatient part 2. Because, you know, last week, remember we talked about let patience have her perfect work, that you may be perfect and entire, wanting nothing. And who did we talk about? Do you remember? Queen, what was her name? The second queen. Queen Esther. And remember Queen Esther? Did she have patience? She did. She had patience. And so we saw the results of what patience, having its perfect work. I mean, God took care of everything while she stayed patient, while she didn't say anything too soon. She had to be patient. And God was taking care of things behind the scenes, things that they didn't even know was going on. But God was working. They prayed, they fasted, they talked to God, and then they just had to trust and be patient. And that's what they were doing. And then we saw the results of it. But you know, not everybody stays patient, and not everybody lets patience have its perfect work. And you know what? If you have to let patience have its perfect work so that you'll be perfect and entire, wanting nothing, well, what happens if you don't let patience work? Are you going to be perfect and entire, wanting nothing? No. Remember, like Noah and them, if they would have had to turn around, you know, can you think of any time that you were not patient and you ended up paying for it? It ended up costing you. Like, you ended up getting in trouble and not getting to do whatever it was you were really wanting to do. I mean, that happened for me. I don't know if it happened for you, but think about that. Think about those times. I would think everybody has had that happen, where you ended up not being patient. You ended up, and it costing you. So that's why we're going to talk about a king. Last week we talked about a king, but we mostly talked about a queen. But this week we're talking about another king. But the thing about this king, you want me to go ahead and tell you? He wasn't patient. So let's see what happened. This king, well, let me start with this. Israel, God's people, decided they wanted a king because they were used to seeing these other people having a king, this other kingdom having a king, and they decided they wanted a king. And before that, God was the one that was always leading them, always ruling, always, you know, guiding them, the best king. Because, I mean, how many know people kings can be mean? I mean, think about all the kings in the Bible, like threw them in the fiery furnace, threw them in the lion's den. I mean, people can be mean. So who better than God to rule and to reign? But you know how people are, you know, like, oh man, you got a switch, I gotta have a switch. I mean, you know how like people just want to copy a lot of times. And so they were, they had to have a king. They wanted a king, they wanted a king, they wanted a king. So God did it. God's like, okay, you want a king? We'll set up a king. So he went to Samuel and he let Samuel know this is who is going to be king. And you know what his name was? I'm going to pull it up. His name was King Saul. King Saul. Now, King Saul was a nice guy. The people liked him. The people wanted him. They were excited that he was king. They were good with that. And he did fine. But he wasn't patient. So let me tell you what happened. He set, like, got an army up, and he just took a certain number of his army. He didn't take the whole army. He took like 3,000, and he kept 2,000 with him and 1,000 with his son, and his son went off to another part of the kingdom or whatever, and his son went with his army and defeated like one of the enemy's like posts, where they were stationed, and they defeated them. And oh man, they were like excited and just like celebrating, and like actually King Saul started like mocking the Philistines, and so the Philistines got so mad, that they gathered their army, and they gathered everybody. The Bible says that they got so many soldiers that it was like the sand on the beach. You know how like you wouldn't even like try to count, because all those little grains of sand, there's just like too hard to count. Your mind just goes tilt, tilt, too hard. That's what happened. That's what they said, that there was so many, it was like the sand of the sea. Too many. So they were numbered. Remember, there was 2,000 and then 1,000 over here. So 3,000 total. And the others were like back in their land, back at home. And so here they have only 3,000, and they have so many you cannot even count them. It's like the sand. So these guys, they got scared. It said that they literally started hiding anywhere that they could find to hide. They would hide in caves. They would hide in rocks. You know how like when there's like big rocks and there's like cracks and you can get in there? You ever been like to Rock City? They would hide in rocks. It said they would hide in like bushes, like the thicket. Like a thicket is like where it's just like really thick, like tall grass or bushes and stuff. They would like hide in like camouflage, because remember they had like that natural color clothes, and they would be like hiding. It said they would hide in like ditches, like holes. If they could find a hole down in the ground that they could fit in, they would get down in it. In wells, they were hiding. If they could escape, it said some escaped to crossed over the Jordan and escaped to another land. They were trying to get away because they were like, this is impossible. And obviously they weren't really trusting God. And they were like, I don't know. But there was 600 that stayed with Saul. And it said these guys were so afraid that they would just tremble. They literally would just be shaken because they were so afraid. Well, Saul was afraid too. And he was needing patience because he depended so much on God's man, the one that anointed him king, the one God spoke to go to Saul and tell him he was going to be king. His name was Samuel, and I have his name. I'll pull it for you guys. Now, Samuel was supposed to come in 7 days. 7 days. He was going to come and he was going to do offerings up to God and, really seek God and worship God. And he was supposed to come in 7 days. And the thing that Samuel, lifting up offerings to God and doing all that, only by law at this time, only Samuel could do it. Because he was God's man. Nobody else could do it. Nobody. It was a law. And so here's all these people, all this army, all of this stuff going on. He's looking at his men. His men are all shaking. He's finding out they're coming. They're giving reports to him that, hey, some of the people have escaped and they've gone over to this other country. And he's getting all these reports that they're hiding. And he probably got reports about somebody getting killed. I mean, he's got all this going on. Well, how many know he's got to wait 7 days? So does he need patience? He needs patience. Because, I mean, think about this. So we got day one. Day one. All this stuff going on. Remember, like all these emotions going on the inside, thoughts coming, that tug of war going on, fear like really trying to like come over here. I mean, all of this stuff going on in him. Day one. But is it day 7? It's not day 7. Now we got day 2. Same stuff. I'm sure he had all this stuff going on. But you know, he's got to be patient. Remember, 7 days. And he's got all the same stuff. He's looking at his men. And you're talking like, how many hours are in a day? All the minutes. You know, I mean, like time probably felt like it was going by so slow. And he's waiting. Day 3. He's probably hearing their voices going throughout all the land, being all, you know, like, did you find them? And we're gonna kill them. And did you see one over there? There's one. And then here's people taking off after them, because it said they even had chariots, so he could hear the horses. Man, where is Samuel? Don't you know he was like that? Because, I mean, he didn't really have like a relationship with God. His relationship with God was dependent on Samuel. So he's like, where is Samuel? It's day 4. He's going, okay, it's day 4. And he's looking at his men. His men are looking at him like, do something. You're the king. Do something. I want to get back to my family. I mean, he's got all of this, all these emotions going on, this tug of war. I mean, think about tug of wars. Tug of wars don't usually last long, like, you know, when you're doing the rope. But like, this has already gone on 4 days. We're now to day 5. Is Samuel here yet? No. How many was it? 7. 7 days. Now, I don't know about you, but would you be doing, that's like some pressure going on. That's like serious pressure. You know, let's go look at some pressure, but let's go outside. We're gonna see some when we put pressure on things, what happens. Y'all ready? Let's go.
So are you ready for him to put some pressure on these balloons?
Balloon time, people.
But I'm not staying here while he puts pressure.
Yeah, it's gonna go everywhere. Probably even on me. You know? But it's fine.
It's hot out here. It'll feel good.
It's gonna
for
feel
now.
so good.
Okay, I'm moving.
Are you ready?
I'm moving.
Just when you put pressure on something, man, it busted. Like, before I could get over there, I actually got wet. But that's how pressure does. I mean, it just can feel like all of this is just coming against you, and you're just like, do this, do this, do this. Like, I'm sure he had thoughts going over and over and over in him, like, you gotta do something, you gotta do something, you gotta do something, do something, do something. You know, over and over. And it's still not day 7. Now it's day 6. I mean, think about this. Do you think they were sleeping good? I bet they were not sleeping. And if they did actually fall asleep because they were so tired, they probably had bad dreams because of all of this going on. And it's only day 6. But don't you know, he's like, okay, Samuel, get here. Samuel, get here. Because he's like not even thinking he can go to God, you know, and talk to God. And he's got all of this going on. How many know? I bet he was going, tomorrow. Samuel will be here tomorrow. And then it's going to be okay. Samuel's going to be, because we're still here, Samuel's going to be here tomorrow. Because tomorrow is day 7. Don't you know? He was like, I don't know if he was like marking it off in the dirt. If he was hiding in a cave and he's like marking it on the rock. I mean, he's like keeping up with it. Guess what? Do a crow. Can you do a crow? A rooster. I'm not. Okay. Anyway, I won't try that. Day 7. It's day 7. Don't you know? He had, I don't know if they probably didn't have binoculars, but they might have had like a little telescope thing or something. But I mean, I bet he's out there and he's probably like looking, where are you? Where are you? And it's like, he's not there. He's probably thinking, oh, he's gonna be here first thing in the morning. He's not there. He's not there. And it gets lunchtime, which I don't know how much they were eating, but it's like noon. No Samuel. No Samuel. It's getting 5 o'clock. There's no Samuel. No Samuel. Don't you? He's like, Samuel, where are you? It's been 7 days. It's the 7th day. Where are you? Where are you, Samuel? Where are you, Samuel? And it starts getting dark. And his men, because you know, probably all of those days he probably kept comforting them like, okay, Samuel's coming, remember? He's gonna be here in 7 days. That's probably what he kept comforting them, you know? He's gonna be here, he's gonna be here. And you know what? When he wasn't there, did you know that some of those soldiers that were supposed to stay with the king and be with the king to guard the king, they left. They didn't have any more patience. They were like, that's it. I'm through. And they left. Now Saul, he's not leaving. He's still staying there. But you know what? He's like, he's got all of this going on. What do I do? What do I do? What do I do? What? I gotta do something. I gotta do something. I mean, don't you know you had all these thoughts going on? I gotta do something. I mean, it probably looks something like this. I'm gonna grab this. Ah! Like if you could see on the inside of him, he was probably like, I gotta do something. Don't you know he was like, something, I've gotta do something. So you know what? He's like, I've got to get God involved. I've got to do it. So you know what? He's like, I know I'm not supposed to do this. This is a law. I am not supposed to do this, but I'm going to do it. Because Samuel's not here, and I've got to get God involved. And this was like, no. You know, the Bible tells us in Luke, this is Luke 21:19, it says, in your patience, possess ye your soul. So like, what this is meaning is like, with your patience, in your patience, grab hold. You know how if you possess something, like it's yours, you hold on to it. You hold on to it. Have you ever seen like, I know none of you have done it. You might have done this when you were younger, but you ever seen like those like really young, you know, they're really young and they're like, mine, this is mine, you know, and they're like, they're hanging on to it. They're possessing it. Well, that's what it says, with patience, in your patience, possess your soul. Remember, your soul is like your emotions, your will, your mind. And it's saying, grab hold of it. with patience, grab hold of it. You know, like, let's say this is your soul. It's like, ah! Remember, it's like, ah! Patience, you're like to let patience, like, no, it's gonna be okay. Hang on. We trust. Remember, we talked to God, we prayed, we're trusting God. It's gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay. Remember, it's gonna be okay. And like you hang on to it. But you know what? He was like, ah! And he was not hanging on. He was like, I'm just gonna have to sin. I know this is disobedient, but I gotta do something. I gotta do something. I gotta take care of this. And you know what? He disobeyed. He went ahead. He did it. He did the sacrifices, those offerings. And you know what? Right after he got finished, it said right after, guess who showed up? Samuel. Samuel's there. And he's like, hey, Samuel. And Samuel's like, because he sees it all. And he's like, what did you do? What did you do? And you know what? It cost him. He didn't let patience have its perfect work. You know what? Because he did that, something that was totally he could not do. Because of that, you know what? He spoke for God, and God told Samuel to tell Saul that because of that, he was not going to be, that he had planned for his kingdom to be forever. That like he would reign for king the rest of his life, and then after he died, his sons would reign and they would reign as king, and that it would just keep going. That was God's plan. But when he disobeyed, when he let that pressure get to him and not be patient, even when it was looking like, well, where's Samuel? It's not my fault. It's not my fault. But he wasn't patient. And you know what? That showed God. Because see, God needed somebody that would follow him, that would obey him, that would have the fear of God. You know, in the sense of like, not afraid of God, but like reverence God, respect God. And when he saw that he would cave under pressure, he was like, I can't do it. Even though he picked King Saul. But remember, King Saul had a will. Remember the robots? He wasn't a robot. So, and he made the choice to not be patient. Isn't that's just how serious, you know, sometimes we don't think about it, but it's really, it can cost us. You know, like when I asked you earlier, has it ever cost you when you weren't patient? Did you end up in sin? Do you remember Noah, like when he was in the van last week?
Are we there yet?
No, not yet. We just left. Be patient.
I'm just so excited.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
And he's like doing all that stuff. How many know he was getting into some sin? You know, I know he was just playing for us and he was doing that for us. But how many know if he would have been doing that for real, he was getting into some sin because he was starting to like be disrespectful. He was, you know, just murmuring and complaining. I mean, you know, just when we get out of patience, it gets us into sin. So let's let patience have its perfect work so that we may be perfect and entire, wanting nothing. Let's be like Queen Esther, you know, that we, you know, you trust God just like this. Watch this right here.
My soul, wait upon the Lord. I trust in you, Lord. Be patient be patient. Lord, help me. Help me during this time to be patient, to trust in you, Lord.
Did you see David? Did you see that literally, that's the scripture that David literally said to himself when he was having these moments like this. Because he did. He had armies after him that wanted to kill him. But you know what he did? The Bible says he literally would say, my soul, he would start talking, my soul, wait on God. Trust, be patient. He would start talking. He would start talking to himself. You know, trust God, wait. Because he could feel himself on the inside like, let's run. I mean, like he even talked about that sometimes. Man, I could run. I would like to escape. And that's why he was like, he would talk to himself. Because remember, he had a relationship with God. He had those Jolly Rancher moments. So he knew when his soul would be so upset and he had all these thoughts coming and fear was coming and he was in this tug of war, he would be like talking to myself. So you listen, you wait on the Lord. Because when you pray, like with anything that's going on, like this corona, you prayed about that. You prayed about different things going on. This is when it can seem like it's day 7, and you're like, I still don't see it. But just like Esther, even though they didn't see everything, he was still working. He was still perfecting things. And that's what we have to do. If you know, hey, I've prayed, I've asked God, and that's in those moments where you don't see that God is doing something, that's when you got to talk to yourself and say, hey, I trust God. I trust God. He's working. He's working. He's working. He's working. He's working. All the time, he's faithful. You can trust him. And you know what? Guess who was the next king? Guess who replaced King Saul? King David. God was like, this guy, I can trust him. When he gets under pressure, he comes to me. He comes to me. So let's be like Esther. Let's be like David. Let's be like Jesus, because we have him in us. And let's let patience have its perfect work. Talk to yourself if you need to. So wait. Trust God. Well, happy birthday, guys. See you next time.
Hey everybody, happy birthday!
Wah, 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 wah! Happy birthday, CWOL kids. We're so excited for you. We're so excited that it's your birthday. Are you excited? I know you are, because when I was younger and it was my birthday, I was so pumped, especially when I got in the double digits when I was like 10. But yes, we're so excited for you. We can't wait to see you, and we hope that you have a wonderful and happy birthday.
Happy birthday to all you kids out there turning 100, 200, 300. You might be turning in negative numbers. It doesn't matter, because it's your birthday. It's about you. Have fun. Go to water balloon fights, water parks, play video games, Fortnite, Minecraft, Mario, whatever you like to do. But happy birthday and congratulations on becoming older, because things happen. So there you go. Bye-bye now.